Shalom, shalom. Barakatah Yahuwah. Tonight's this segment is going to be on Barashit, Genesis chapter 18. One of the oldest events in scriptures, and this is about Abraham, the Abrahamic faith, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to stay in chapters 18 only. We're not going to go into everything. But I'm going to use all five of the meanings, which will be found here in the picture alphabet. So we're going to use the events from the name of Abraham, Lot, his nephew, and the numerical values. And which is very interesting, because anytime that I'm teaching or that we need to think about teachings, we're not thinking about always the characters of our patriarch family, but it's all about Yahuwah. And how Yahuwah has constructed everything, and how Yahuwah has used his picture alphabet with all five of the meanings. And when I say all five of the revealings of the meanings of each individual alphabet letter. So let me give you a little breakdown. Each one of the alphabet letters have five meanings, so that's a fivefold ministry. It's a picture, it's a number, it's a word, it's an interpretation, and it's a letter. And I want you to think about what I just said. It's a picture, it's a number, it's a word, it's an interpretation, which means a definition or meaning, and it's a letter. And so when you use in the scriptures, Yahuwah confound and compound all of these five meanings of each one of these letters to make the experience of his creation, even with us today, as far away as we are from the very first day of creation, or Yahuwah's planning and thinking and thoughts of planning, our Father planning creation, up until the experience that we have today. So, I know not everyone understands and knows the whole alphabet, but I'm going to give you how the scriptures are going to use 7 or 8 of these letters in order, but going backwards. And it's important that we go backwards, because we are going back to the very beginning of creation, when everything was pure before sin had started with Adam, the first man. And so we are not looking for our future, but to know our future is to see our past. And if we can see mankind's past and all the good things and or bad things, we can see the mistakes that they've made, and we can also see the things that they've done right, to continue to know, to give us answers on what we today need to continue to do. Either we continue to do right, we can find the rightful answers, or we continue to make mistakes and see the same mistakes with others in the past of our patriarch family, and see the consequences and things that we reap. It's something that's very, very important. A lot of people don't look at it that way, because they don't understand how Yahuwah really operates and works. So, I'm going to start off with reading about Yahuwah. Keep your mind on Yahuwah, because Yahuwah is the one orchestrating everything here. Not your thoughts, not my thoughts, maybe our actions, but it was Yahuwah's planning that put us in a place. And Yahuwah appeared to Abram. And Yahuwah appeared to Abram. This is in the flesh, by the way. A lot of people don't believe that Yahuwah has came in the flesh in the past. But if you would get out your scripture book, turn to Genesis chapter 18 and read along with me and take your time and you will see this. And Yahuwah appeared to Abram by the tamarisk trees at Mamre, while he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. I want to stop right there because I am going to be going over some definitions of words and meanings of our Abret words. And one of the Abret words, the number one thing I want to start with, is Yahuwah is our Ab, Father. And we need to look at the word Ab, Father, and the Aleph Bet, which is the first and second letter of the Aleph and the Bet. And we need to get a solid Abret interpretation, meaning, or definition from the word Ab, Father. Ab, Father, the Aleph Bet, and the Aleph Bet means, let me make this clear. Ab, Father, when scriptures talks about Ab, Father, it's only in reference to Yahuwah is the Ab, planning creation. Planning creation. The word can also be used as fresh fruit, the father of the next generation, of trees attached to the tree or the pole. As I just started in this very first sentence, it says, and Yahuwah, which is Ab, appeared to him by the tamarisk tree at Mamre, while he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. And the father is the father of the family, provides the strength, support, and structure to the household. The father fulfilled many functions for the family. He was the commander of the family and the army and the provider of offspring to continue the family line, the priest and teacher. And the father can be of the immediate family or a lineage such as Jacob, who is the father of the 12 Yasharel tribes. A father can also be the pardon of a profession of art. Did you catch that? The father always sat at the tent door looking for strangers and travelers on a road. Okay? And here we find Abraham sitting in the dalet in the doorway of the tent, looking, and he sees Yahuwah coming, who has appeared to him by the tamarisk trees in Amar, while he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked and saw 3 men standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground and said, Yahuwah. Now let me back up. I want you to take your time. I'm going to read this in English, but if I got to get my Torah out, my picture Elizabeth Torah, you won't understand what I'm saying. But this in the Abret Torah still says they were in the flesh as men. Let's back up. And saw 3 men standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground and said, Yahuwah. Calling one of these 3 men in the flesh, Yahuwah. I know, y'all see I do this quite often. You see? Where it says right here. It said, Yahuwah. If you're wondering what scripture book that I'm using the 25th silver edition of the ISR. And the ISR 25th edition has the name of Yahuwah in the modern script, and it uses Yahusha in the modern script for the New Testament. And the names gives the right transliteration, which is pronunciation, as we go through. So you don't get into all these different changes and things, and it helps us stay more complete. And he said, Yahuwah, if I have now found favor. Now this word favor, if you look this word up, you're going to find it's the word con, which is also used for the word grace in English. Favor, grace, but those two words are not concrete. That word means beautiful. It's a beautiful sight in your eyes. Please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts, and then go on. For this is why you have come to your servant. And they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran into the tent to Sarah, and said, hurry and make ready 3 measures of fine flour. Knead it and make cakes, or challah, some bread. And Abraham ran to the herd and took a tender and good aloof, a calf, a ram, and gave it to a young man, and he hurried to prepare it. And he took curds, which is milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, the tamarisk tree, as they ate. I want to pause for a minute. Here's Yahuwah and 2 of his Malachim messengers. And Abraham took some bread, took a 1-year-old fatted calf, and his wife prepared a meal for all 3 of the travelers to eat in the flesh. Now you can disagree if you want to, but I'm reading it strictly from Scripture. If you're a vegetarian and say, our Creator wouldn't eat creation, I want you to go read your own Bible. And I want you to question Yahuwah about His Word. And if you want to say that there's some kind of translation error, I want you to get you a Torah. And I want you to learn the language. And I want you to be able to read it for yourself so that you know. And if you don't do that, then it's your own ignorance. And it's your own stubbornness that you don't want to learn. Don't blame creation. And thinking in your own mind that Yahuwah can't do something or wouldn't do something. I deal with my Shah on these things personally. Because as we all know, we don't all have all the answers. But we study to find ourselves approved. Okay? So, I'm not saying that all the meat that we eat today is good meat. They stick a lot of things in this. But back here in these days and these times, they didn't deal with the things that we always deal with. I just want to make that a little bit clear so that we can get past a few things. And Abram ran to the herd and took a tender and good calf and gave it to a young man, and he hurried to prepare it. And he took the curds of milk And the calf which he prepared, he set it before them, and he stood by them under the tamarisk tree as they ate. And they said to him, Where is Sarah, your wife? And he said, See, in the tent. And he said, I shall certainly return to you according to the time of life. Now you will notice that on my picture alphabet, I have from order from Nun, Mem, Lamet, Kuf, Yud, Tut. And I'm going to go to Chet right here before I'm finished for a reason. But in this numerical value order we're going to look at, but I wrote it in the order in English this direction, or Greek should I say. Nun, Mem, Lamed, Kuf, Yud, Tut. Nun is a seed. Seed is grain. Nun means life from one generation to the next. You look up here and you see the word Abram or Abraham. You see Ab, Aluf, Bet, father, and the word Bar. The next two letters, the second and third letter, is the word Bar, and Bar means grain. Okay, that's where we got the word in English, etymology, beer, because beer is made from barley, which is grain. So not only am I teaching a little bit about the alphabet, but I'm teaching it through etymology. Linguistics change from languages to languages to languages to give you an understanding of where we're at. But beer is not, bar beer that we drink is not part of this teaching. But I just want you to know the etymology of language. Give you a little extra. And Abram and Sarah were old and well advanced. And Sarah were old and advanced in age, and Sarah was past the way of women. That means she was not barren. She couldn't have more children. She had never had any children. And Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my master being old too. And Yahuwah said to Abraham, Why did Sarah Yitzhak? Why did you say Yitzhak? Because Yitzhak, it's Yitzhak, right? Yes. Yitzhak means laughter. Do you realize that? Children are named because of experiences from our Ab Father. Isaac, Yitzhak means to laugh, laughter. And this is the child that Yahuwah is talking about, that they're going to name Yitzhak. So why did Sarah Yitzhak laugh, saying, Shall I truly have a child, since I am old? And is any matter too hard for Yahuwah? What things may be hard for us to understand, Yahuwah had already planned it. We got to get involved and in line with Ab Father's planning as Yahuwah has ordained and spoke into through creation. And at the appointed time, you see, not only did Yahuwah ask Sarah or ask Abraham why Sarah Yitzhak laughed, he gave them the idea through his speech what his name was going to be because of the laughter Yitzhak moment. Is any matter too hard for Yahuwah? At the appointed time, I am going to return to you according to the appointed time of life, the nun. And Sarah is to have a son, a very intelligent son. Because this intelligence is passed down from Ab Father as the intelligence to a ban, a son. Abraham is the ban son of Yahuwah, as Yitzchak will be the ban intelligent son of Abraham. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did, Yitzchak. You did laugh. And the men rose up from there and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to send them away. And Yahuwah said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Now I want to stop right there for a minute. Because you know these two messengers, right? You do realize that who they were going for and what family they were going to go rescue and Shah for deliverance, salvation in Yahuwah. They were going for Lot. And Lot was Abram's nephew. Abraham's father and his father's brother, son, was Lot. His name was Haran. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of insight about the numerical values about Lot's name. When Haran met his wife, the book of Jasher tells us that Haran was 39 years old when he met his wife. That experience was what named his child Lot. Because you take the Lamed, which is numerical value 30. You see that? You take the word Tut, which is the numerical value of 9. You add those together, you get the numerical value numbers of 39, which spells the name Lot in the Hebrew language. Because his age was 39 when he met his wife Shari. And that's what Sarah's name is going to change to be, is Shari. And that was Lot's mother's name also, was Shari. So there is some twofold connections here. There's some double things. You can research a little bit for yourself. But back up for a second, because there's a little bit more about the name Lot that you don't understand in this scripture. And Yahuwah said, shall I hide from Abram what I'm going to do? Do you know that Lot's name means to hide, or a secret covering, a veil? Something in secret to hide? Yeah. You see, if you don't understand the Hebrew language and all 5 of these uses and meanings, you will never, ever pull this together. You will never understand how all this comes to be. It's very beautiful. It's very calm. It's very Yafa. It's very... We're watching the Creator's thoughts, planning this from way back when. Before anything was even created, He thought of all this and worked this for this appointed... See, I just read it's an appointed time. It's something He already planned. And Yahuwah says, shall I, Lot, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? since Abraham is certainly going to become a great and mighty Gentile. And you're going to say, he's not a Gentile. He's the father of nations. It's the word goyim. He is the father of nations. But in the New Testament, the same word goyim, when we get there, translators have wrote Gentiles. In nations is the word goyim that translators said changed to Gentiles. And I don't want you to feel any separate than being a nation of Abram, a goyim. I don't want you to think that you're some Gentile. Because we are all from Abram. We are all from Noah. We are all from Adam. We're all from Noah. Now we may came from the 3 genealogies of Noah's sons. Shem, you're a Shemite. Ham, you're a Hamite. Japhet. And you're probably wondering why I didn't say some ite at the end of Japhet, because there's not any. There's not any mentioned in Scripture. I haven't got that far in my studies, but I know either you're a Shemite or a Hamite. It's something me and Julie's been working on today and looking at. And when I say ite at the end of any word, that means a descendant of. That's all it means. But we know that Japhet went to the northern region, and Japhet was Europe. Shem went to Jerusalem, and we changed that Shemite, and we will change that later, and they've made it the Meanins. So there's some extra changes going on. I just want to give you a little bit of insight in how things are going to move around that confuse all of us. Okay? And let's get back to the story. And Yahuwah said, because, he says, for I have known him so that he commands his children and his household after him to guard the way of Yahuwah, to do Zadok, to be Zadok, a righteousness, and right ruling, so that Yahuwah brings to Abraham what he has spoken to him. Remember, Yahuwah speaks. Yahuwah is the centerpiece here. And that's what this picture alphabet's all about. It's about Yahuwah's creation and how he's made it and how we're to understand it. And Yahuwah said, because the outcry, the shua of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very heavy. This is where people's imagination go, how much sin? And they think of all the sin. Stop. We're not going to go there. We're going to think about the alphabet with the creation, so that we don't get carried away in some kind of vain imagination. We're going to stay in Yahuwah's Zadokness and his purity. He says, I am going now to see whether they have done together according to the outcry against it that has come to me, Yahuwah says. And if not, I, Yahuwah, I know. The centerpiece is Yahuwah. So the men turned away from there and towards Sodom. But Yahuwah still stood before Abraham in the flesh. In the flesh. You see me in this video? I'm in the flesh. This is what Abraham looked to. Just like me. You looking at me, or if I was looking at you, in the flesh with his Creator. And Abraham drew near and said, would you also destroy the righteous, the Zadok, with the wrong? Suppose there are 50 Zadoks. Remember the word Melech, Zadok, Melchizedek? It's the word Melech, messenger, Zadok, righteous, high priest. It's the same words. Would suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? This is where the picture alphabet gets really interesting. Because right here is none, numerical value 50. Mem, numerical value 40. Lamed, numerical value 30. Kuf, numerical value 20. Yud, numerical value 10. And this is what we're going to read from the experience that Abraham is speaking to Yahuwah, going backwards through the alphabet and their numerical values. As he's speaking, if I find this amount of people, Zadok people, righteous people, godly people, if you want to call it Yahuwah's people, are you going to destroy these cities? Cities. There's 5 cities, by the way. 5. And Yahuwah said, no, not if there's 50. But he already knows who's there. Far be it from you to act in this way, to slay the Zadok, the righteous, with the wrong, so that the righteous should be as the wrong. For be it from you, does the judge of all the rest earth not do right? Now he's questioning Yahuwah. That's a question mark. And Yahuwah answered and said, if I find in Sodom none, 50. You see that? Right there. 50. None. 50. A seed. Another generation that continued after y'all. And there's 50 of you. Zadok within the city, then I shall spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, look, please, I who am but just dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahuwah. Suppose there are 5 less than the 50 righteous, the Zadok. Would you destroy all of the city for lack of 5? The next picture alphabet is the Mem, is 40. Now what is very interesting, that he didn't say 40, he said 45. And the Hebrew word for 45 is Mem, Hey. Okay? It's the word Ma. Okay? So I'm going to take you to my little picture alphabet lexicon with the dictionary definition and the meanings, interpretations. And I'm going to read you what the word Ma is. Because without the word Ma, we wouldn't have the full understanding of this scripture. Mem, Hey, numerical value 40, and Mem and Hey 5, 45. It means the sea, like an ocean. The pictograph men is the picture of water. The sea of the Mediterranean is a place of the unknown, what is beyond or what is below. It is feared by the ancient Abret because of its size, storms, and fierceness. 100 as an unknowable amount. This parent root is related to Ham and Mai and Mu. Ma. The sea is the place of the unknown, or anything that is in an unknown or in question. You get that? Abraham's in question about Ma. 45. Or in question. And Abraham here is questioning, and even said to question you, Yahweh. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah is only 2 cities that's mentioned here, but there's 5 cities, and all 5 of these cities are in one location, and they're all where the Dead Sea bank is, on the side, on one side of the city. So let me take you back and let's go to look at the word Ham, which is the word Ma, backwards, okay? So this will help you understand a little bit more about what's going on. And we're talking about a multitude of people, right? This is what Abraham's doing. He's questioning about a multitude of people that would be found righteous as Zadok there. Ham is the same word as Ma, but backwards. It's still numerical value 45. And it means a roar, a sea, or turmoil. The picture graph hay represents a looking toward. And we just noticed that Yahuwah said he was looking toward. And the mem is the pitcher of water. And combined, these pictures mean a looking toward the water, a looking toward the Dead Sea, a large body of water seen as a place of chaos because of its storms, its turbulent surf, and the commotion of the waves. A roar, a multitude. A multitude is a large group, a multitude, a noise, a turmoil, abundance, many, store, or a company. And Ham, with a double mem, means destroy and destruction, an uproar, or a multitude of people to be destroyed by the water. Very important. We use the numerical values of each one of these and make the words, and we go back and we find it and we study it. And we find out if Yahuwah is telling the truth, and if the translators are telling the truth, or if we're believing a lie. And Abraham answered and said, "Look, please." Remember to look toward Ham. "I, who am but dust and ashes, have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahuwah." And he spoke to him yet again and said, "Suppose there are found 40. Now we got 40. And he said, "I would not do it for the sake of 40. You got this? 40, mem. Numerical value 40. 45, ma, ham. And he said, "Let not Yahuwah be displeased, and let me speak. Suppose there are found 30. 30 is the next letter going lesser in the alphabet, which is the lamed. We're going in not just alphabetical order backwards, from nun down to tut to chet, but numerical value also that lines up perfectly. Lamed means to go to teach, to learn. It's a shepherd's staff. And he said, "I would not do it if I find 30 there." And he said, "Look, please, I've taken it upon myself to speak to you. Suppose there are found 20. And he said, "I would not destroy it for the sake of 20. And he said, let not Yahuwah be displeased, and let not me speak only this time. Suppose there are found 10. 10 is the yud. Kuf is the open palm of the hand. It means to release. 10 is the yud. This is the first letter in Yah's name. Yahweh's name. It means hand, power, work, and deed. And who is doing this deed? Who is doing this mighty work? Who is doing this purpose? Yah is Yahuwah. And then Yahuwah went away as soon as he had ended speaking to Abraham. And Abraham returned to his place. Now I want to stop right there for a minute. Because what I've learned that in Lot's name, pay attention, that the shepherd staff, that the messengers, oh boy, this teaching went to go save 9 people in all are going to be involved. And you're going, how is there 9? When they were going for Lot and his wife and his 2 daughters, it's only 4. You got Yahuwah. You got the 2 Malek. I'll show you that in a minute. That's 3. You got Abram. You got Sarah. That's 5. You got Lot. You got his wife and his 2 daughters. And the shepherds, 30. Tut is 9, spells the name Lot. There's 9 people involved in this teaching of a basket. Some people that are contained in this family's generation to generations that Yahuwah is dealing with. And you're going, what does that have to do with anything? Well, let me back up a second. Because these messengers, this word messenger is the word malek, which is backwards. Mem, lamet, kuf. Malek. Malek Zadok, the messenger high priest. Malek is the word messenger, and Malek means to travel. That's the Hebrew word for it. You take the mem off because they were going to the place of water where these 5 cities were. And you get the word lach. Lach is the word to walk. And they were traveling and walking to this place. Oh, Yahuwah. But we know that when the messengers got there, that Lot's wife looked back. So from Tut, there was 9. And I'm going to draw this little hat right here. This is a fence. It means a wall. Something that's surrounding like a basket, but it's a het, it's a wall. And after Lot's wife looked back, there was 8. This is numerical value 8. After she turned to the pillar of salt, Scripture says, there was 8 involved. But why did she look back? Because we know the Scriptures well enough that Scripture says that Yahuwah brought fire down, right? Fire. Fire and brimstone. And that's what destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the other 3 cities, right? Let's go back to Lot's name. because I want to look at the word lahat. Lamed, hey, tut. Lamed, hey, tut. Lot's name means to cover, a veil, or secret. The pictograph Lamed is a picture of a shepherd's staff representing authority. The tut is the picture of a basket or a container. Combined, these mean authority contained, the covering that covers and hides the face of a woman. You see that? Lot means secret, a covering that hides what is behind. What was Lot's wife doing? She said to keep your face veiled and do not look back. Keep it covered. Do not look back. And this word Lot means the covering that covers and hides the face of a woman. Lahat, Lamed, hey, tut, secret, to burn, an unknown connection or to root. It means fire, to burn and kindle. I want to take that hay and I'm going to place it right here in the middle of this, and this numerical value 5. Let's do a little bit of simple math here. Let's do a little bit of simple math when I add that letter hey to the word lahat, and it means to burn, because Lot's name means the covering of the veil of the woman. And they said, do not look back, and you stay veiled up and you stay covered. Do not look back at this burning city. There's Lot, his wife, his two daughters, and the 2 messengers. That's 6 people. Do you realize that as soon as she looked back and they were all together with Lot, all 6, that 6th one became 5 people. The 2 messengers, Lot and his 2 daughters. And after his wife looked back, that lahat began to burn, and she became a pillar. And that word lahat is the word fire and burn. As Sodom and Gomorrah and the other 3 cities, all 5, were burning during the experience of Lamed, tut, Lamed, hey, tut, to burn, as 5 were brought out. Well, Barak Yahuwah. This is a very, very deep, but very simple teaching. I enjoy doing these teachings from the picture of the bet. I enjoy Yahuwah's true creation from the Aluf Bet in all 5 of its meanings, the revealing, so that one day, when he brings that fervent heat to this earth, and he burns up all the impurities, not to destroy the earth, but to restore it back to the original state, because we inherit this place. That I live here amongst all my brothers and sisters that have been brought through the fire, the lahat. Shalom, shalom, Barak Yahuwah.